Welcome to Terrifying and Twisted.
Do you want a brew?
Welcome to episode 7.
We're back.
Hope you enjoyed episode 6.
We've had some really good messages about our cray cafe night. Everyone enjoyed it, apparently.
On this episode with us, we've finally got Mr. Lee Richardson. I don't know why I call him Mr. Lee Richardson.
It's just Lee.
It's just Lee.
But Lee's here via technology, obviously. So please bear with us. But hi, Lee.
Hi.
You alright?
I do quite like the Mr. Lee Richardson, so if you want to keep that, that's...
You shall address him as Mr. Lee.
I do. I'll be honest, I like that.
You're lucky, I have to call him Sir.
That's not me throwing my voice. There is obviously my partner here with me. We're all the way at home, doing the same thing you guys are doing. Finally got some way of communicating, which has been lovely. So...
Hoping it all goes well.
Just wants to see my face.
I think he misses your face.
Yeah.
Constantly. I don't miss it because I've got photographs up everywhere. Okay. But anyway, that's for another podcast.
So this week it's been pretty quiet at home. Kids have gone back to school.
Yeah, they have. I hope everyone's enjoyed peace and quiet. We have.
Yeah,
and
then...
Working. There's that working there, some of us still have to do, but carry on, yeah.
Of course, it's been a big week for news.
A very big week in terms of news. Completely thrown a lot of people, hasn't it? So,
obviously, a lot of us know that Prince Harry and Meghan did an interview with Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, Mr. Richardson, don't start.
We have to mention it.
Do we?
We'd be mad not to. So, obviously, we know Lee's opinion on that matter.
No, I have to be honest, it's not a negative opinion, it's just...
You sick of hearing it?
No, I'm just 0% zero interest in it. I just
There's too many other things going on.
Yeah, like you said, this week's been a really quite a heavy week all round with stuff, and I think that it shouldn't be up there. We shouldn't, as a nation, we shouldn't really be paying too much attention to it.
Yeah,
we've still got a lot going on.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. I'm not sort of going, I don't have any side to it. I just think it's like wait for it to come out on Netflix.
Yeah. It's gonna. To be honest, anyway, it did have a real. I'm not even gonna lie. It had a really negative effect on me. To the point where I completely deactivated social media. And actually, it breaks done me world of good, I think. It really has.
Sometimes you just need a break.
I was just sick of seeing ugliness from everybody.
This is my point, isn't it? It's like, is there any need for that right now, what globally we're all going through, never mind just me, you and everybody else, it's kind of like...
That's what
it's not really. We don't need that sort of entertainment.
Yeah.
We need uplifting. We need positive. We need, marching forward. Come on, guys. And that's for all of us. It's not about what's the word I'm looking for? Separation. There you go.
It just had a huge negative impact on me.
It did.
Seeing people. Well, you saw me. You spoke to me through week. It made me feel really shit. I'm feeling better about it now. And do you know what? Strangely enough, not even miss Facebook. Getting out, it's an habit. Obviously, you consume a lot of time. I didn't realise how much time I spent on it until I've stopped going on it. And then I find myself doing little things. And I'm like, why does this feel different? Oh, because normally I'd be scrolling through Facebook while I were doing this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You've done stuff in your life that you've not told everyone about as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't mean that disrespectfully to you, but you done something or whatever that you're not feeling that you've got to take a photograph of, or you've got to tell everybody.
Oh no, I am, mate. I am, because it's
that pressure of that as well. It's nice to come away from it.
I am, because honestly, it's had that much of a negative effect on me. I've done nothing. I couldn't. In fact, I was that bad. I had a work Zoom meeting, some training on Wednesday. I got on it, and the thought of having to socialise and speak within this group of people. I work with these people, and I couldn't do it. I had to come off it and just pull myself away. So honestly, I have done nothing this week. But
I don't know. Maybe you need to get yourselves out in countryside and stuff for you too. A bit of fresh air for you and kids, because there's more. That's not just watching that. That's everything else building up, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
it is as well. It is as well. But I've got to admit, as yesterday I went to see a friend that I worked with. It were her funeral yesterday. So I went to this balloon release to watch her leave. And to say it was such a sad day, I was saying to Phil last night, that's probably the best day I've had, and the best I felt all week. And Phil's like, but it's been a sad day. It has, but do you know what? I actually saw people that I've not seen in such a long time who I genuinely miss these people that I worked with, and it were nice to stand, and we talked for about an hour about memories of Harriet, the girl that got buried yesterday, just talking about random stuff, and I came home feeling better. And I said to Phil, I think it were just different people, different conversations. Yeah. And it honestly, it did me world of good.
It's a glimpse of what
will be.
Back to normal life.
Normality, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that. So.
And talking of such massive things going off in the world, we're not going to say too much on it. I've just seen your reaction, but I feel like we have to mention it.
Go on.
Poor Sarah.
Definitely. Well, with obviously you guys will be listening to this on Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, and obviously tonight's Saturday night. We've just been out at 8 and
lit
a couple of candles for her and stuff. Just as a bit of a
mark of respect.
Mark of remembrance. Didn't know the girl, nothing about her, but what a horrific story. And just again, like we said this week, it's been a real shocker. I'm waiting to actually find out what's gone on and things.
Well, without meaning any sort of disrespect here, because I really don't. When we do all this digging and finding info out, it's never about disrespect. It's about knowledge more than anything, and it's just a subject that we enjoy. But I've got so many questions.
Yes.
Like, were they known to each other? Were they complete strangers? Has he done this before?
Was it planned or was it random?
Yeah, there's just so much.
It's very strange, isn't it? And I don't know, it's one of those. It's like they say with anything. Really, can you believe he's only done it once?
There's a lot of young girls that are still missing that are unsolved. And I don't think, what I am going to say is we know from doing this that you don't just wake up one morning, become a killer to the extent of doing what he did. That sort of thing builds over time.
Of course it does.
Definitely.
Especially in the position he was in.
Yeah.
Let's say.
So for people that aren't in the UK, because we know we've got a listener in India.
Woohoo! We've got one listener.
I think I invited somebody from India on our Facebook.
And in Switzerland and other cool countries, basically what's happened is a young girl has been murdered and it alleges that a police officer is involved. We're just waiting to find out a bit more information.
Yeah, he's been arrested and charged, hasn't he? So.
Yeah.
But it's looking like it's true. So
it's sparked a massive outrage, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Complete.
Well, even the the Prime Minister's made us, you know.
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah. You know, even socially, like we've been talking about some of things tonight, some of things being shared on Instagram. You know, it's horrific, but then I think some of the things that are also being shared are just, dare I say, ludicrous. Is that a word?
Yeah, ludicrous. But I find everything. You see, Phil better tell you, I'm not a massive social media person. I've only really been.
Well, Phil got you on Facebook. You didn't.
Yeah, that was all for one reason only in my eyes was that's the driving force was for fishing and things like that. But the whole thing of everything you see is orchestrated to make you feel in a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is.
Our daughter Charlotte, she'll send me videos of a TikTok or something of a really emotional thing, and it's like I have to explain to her every time it's a trigger. It's done on purpose for you to feel like that or to evoke an emotion in a certain way.
Yeah.
And you can get trapped up in it, and we all do, and that's the thing.
Oh,
And
100%.
Myself now.
Yeah.
And it can get quite scary.
Mm.
There's but it's a long discussion that.
Yeah.
Long.
Yeah.
I know, and we can't obviously go into it too much because
No.
we don't know anything.
We need
do
to
we?
know more facts.
We need to know facts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
We'll keep you up to date.
yeah, and I'm definitely it's going to be an interesting one. I
as
think.
we're allowed, remember, because it's a bit. We have to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, Lee's not doing a case because I'm going to be honest with you. We basically sprung it on him at about 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
We're going to do it. We'll see it. We'll test it out, see how it sounds. So, I'm going to go first.
Is it you first?
It is, isn't it? You did Cafe Night last. Oh, no, it's you first.
It's you first, Phil.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Sorry.
It was.
Look
Stop
at me.
trying to take me thunder.
I'm not taking your fucking thunder,
Yeah,
you
mate,
keep.
she's got the crap chair.
Still, just to clarify, still sat on the shit chair while he's lording it up in nice one.
Let me get comfy then.
Yeah, fuck you.
Grab your brews.
Are you ready? Liz, are you ready?
I'm ready. Got me brew.
Right, so these are called the Wales Grey Park Camping Murders. We're
Never
going
heard of
back to 1982 and we're in Clearwater, British Columbia, Canada.
Okay. Lee's reaction. What's this about?
I'll just carry on. It's yeah.
Do you know this, Lee?
I'm sure we've discussed this before. I recognise the Clearwater, so carry on.
It may surprise you. Right, so we start at August 23rd, 1982. A gentleman called Al Boner, as in boner, spelt the same and everything.
Did that amuse you?
Sorry.
I double checked that.
It was known as a boner.
So I'll have to excuse. I'll have to just apologise for.
I apologise myself.
Should be straight with the dick jokes.
So, Al Boner, he...
Right.
Go on.
Compose yourselves now.
I won't say his name again, but this gentleman called the RCMP because his employee was missing. Right, so this employee's reported missing. This employee's called Bob Johnson. He's gone on a big camping trip with his family. He was supposed to return from this trip on the 16th of August. So now we're on the 23rd of August. He's never missed work. He's always been a top employee. It's completely out of ordinary for him.
Right.
They were known as avid campers. So Bob Johnson had gone camping with 5 family members. His wife, Jackie, 41. His 2 daughters, Janet and Karen, 13 and 11. And the grandparents, George Bentley and Edith Bentley, 66 and 59.
Definitely a family affair.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they had the setup where the adults would sleep in the camper, the children would sleep outside in the tent.
Yeah.
Like they used to.
I've done it.
I've done that.
I used to do the same when I went camping with my mum and dad. They slept in the caravan and we slept in the awning on the outside.
Yeah.
Used to do that at home, never mind camping.
Yeah.
My mum and dad always made me sleep
I
outside.
still do when you annoy me.
Yeah.
So August 6th, 1982, Edith, which is the grandma,
Yeah.
Right.
she called one of her daughters and said that they were having a good time and they were meeting Bob Johnson and the girls in Wellgraves Park.
Yeah.
So that was the last time they heard any contact from them. That was the 6th of August.
Yeah.
Okay?
And they were due back on 16th?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're now at 23rd.
Yeah.
So, police search Wellgraves Park as much as possible. Now, Wellgraves Park is 1.3 million acres. So, as you can imagine, it's
Where
huge.
do you start?
Did you say 1.3 million?
Yep, 1.3 million acres.
So you can understand then why they didn't kind of get into action until 8 days. Because if they were due back on the 16th and the 23rd, you say,
Yeah,
so that's 8 days. It's a bit like, 8 days. It's a long time. That if your family have not been back
yeah.
for a couple of days,
I
you
wouldn't
know
even-
what they're at.
I've looked on the website for this place and it looks amazing.
Really?
It's got 41 waterfalls.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So, as you can imagine, Wellgraves Park is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the RCMP reported all 6 as missing persons. We get to September the 13th, 1982.
So they'd not been seen, they'd not been found.
No leads, no nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Right?
And how long's that then?
So we've gone. The last time anyone heard anything
What?
was the 6th of August.
Yeah.
And now we're fast forwarding to September the 13th when they finally get a lead.
And the fact, so you're looking around about
Just
a month,
under a
aren't you?
month, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. But then,
So-
obviously, in the scale of like you say, over 1 million acres, it's like, yeah,
Where do
It's
you
a lot.
start?
Where do you
yeah.
start? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's quite a
And we're in 1980, so it's not like they could put a drone up.
Yeah.
yeah,
true.
exactly. The helicopters, but again, you've got tree cover, like
Yeah.
you say,
It
stuff
was in
like that.
1980.
We've had phones, but not like we've got today.
Not like
No.
that.
No, it had been.
So, yeah, truly a needle in a haystack.
So, September 13th, this man is in Wellgraves Park and is mushroom hunting, which I think is...
Punching.
Yeah, I think it's a thing.
Do they run in this place?
Would it not just be mushroom picking?
Mushroom hunting.
Hunting.
It must be an actual. It must be an actual thing.
Yeah, of course it is.
Quick, shoot
So-
mushroom.
Talking as mushroom hunting, as in going to find.
Yeah.
The hunt is to find
Yeah,
it, not to.
okay.
No, it's not going to run around.
The hunt is on. So, he phones police and he's found a burnt out Chrysler in a clearing which it had been driven into and set on fire.
Right.
What? Carry
And-
on.
It matches the license plate
To the family.
to the family, the Johnsons.
Yeah.
When the police come, it smells absolutely foul. All the floor and the back seat of the car is completely burnt. But you can see human remains.
Oh no.
They go to the boot. They open the boot after difficulty and the 2 little girls are in the boot.
Oh no.
Completely burnt to death.
Oh.
That's my worst nightmare.
Right,
Yeah.
so the police investigate and it's alleged they were shot with a 22 cal rifle.
22, so that's nothing. That's like an upgraded strong air rifle.
They'd all been shot in the head.
Fucking hell.
Edith had been shot in back of head, but she'd got a bullet stuck in her head.
Yeah, they're not. It's not a powerful weapon.
And then
22.
then the media find out.
Alright.
So obviously it completely blows up.
Yeah.
Even more pressure on police to find what's happened to this family.
Yeah.
We don't know where the grandparents' camper is because the grandparents obviously met the other family there.
Yeah.
The family
So we've got-
arrived in the Chrysler, so we've now got a missing camper, and it adds like a truck on the back, and it also had a boat on the top of it.
Right.
So a proper gnarly setup. All the family are ID'd by the dental records.
Yeah, obviously.
Right, so who have we got in the car?
We've got
Two girls.
the two girls, the two
Yeah.
parents, the two grandparents.
So all of them,
So they were right. So they're all
there.
six.
It's alleged, I had double checked this, but it's alleged that there's not a lot of remains left after they've been burnt alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
They buried them all in the same casket and they got buried together,
Yeah.
which is quite sad.
It's very sad actually, because that's.
So we do some more investigating. People have said that they saw this family at a place called Bear Creek. One man said that he'd seen the camper truck at a place called Old Bear Creek Prison Campsite.
Right.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
Sounds like a place you want to stay.
So the RCMP investigated more, trying to get more evidence. They secured the scene of this Old Bear Creek Prison Campsite. Got more officers in, metal detectors, and they found 6 shell casings.
Right.
It matched what would be a 22 cal rifle.
Yeah.
They also found bottle caps of Bob Johnson's favourite beer. So it looks like they've been there. Apparently there were 2 sharp sticks where kids could have been marshmallow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toasted.
But the RCMP, they kept this crime scene to themselves. They didn't tell the media anything about it.
They often do that though, don't they? Don't let everything out, just to kind of make it that,
Keep it at
Yeah.
keep it at
Make
bay.
people
We make sure public are aware of what's going on, but we won't release everything.
Yeah, like what colour or what clothes they were found in or stuff like that, just in case then when they're questioned they can use it.
Yeah.
Very cunning of them, very clever.
But as it stands, they've got a crime scene.
Yeah.
They've got 6 dead bodies, obviously. No evidence.
Yeah.
All they've got is a crime scene. We go to April 1983, so this is 8 months. The lead detective is called Michael Easton, I think. Michael Easton.
Yeah.
And he comes up with this idea to get an exact replica of the grandparents' truck and the boat and the trailer on the back, I'm assuming it was.
Yeah.
And drive it round the route they sort of thought that this family had took.
So they'd piece together
So
what they thought were
maybe
Jot people's memories
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing comes about from it. And then October 18th, 1983, so it's 14 months now. 2 forestry workers are halfway up somewhere called Trophy Mountain, and they find this said camper truck boat.
right.
And it's been lit on fire.
So it's all burnt
Do
out.
we know a distance from the original car or?
I'd have to look it up.
Right. No.
It were a really remote area, like you said, because all the trees and stuff like that, the helicopters, they ain't
got a chance.
got much chance.
No.
I suppose unless they were in the air when it was on fire, they're not gonna. There's no indication of it there or anything.
No.
Really, is there?
The truck had to be airlifted out. The truck had to be airlifted out to crime lab so they could investigate it.
Yeah.
Media were told no clues, and they had over 13,000 tips.
13,000 tips.
Wow.
And that's from the drive round.
One of the people that they spoke to was a man named David William Shearing, and I think they spoke to him quite early on. He's 23 years old.
Right.
What I will say about this man, if you're going to Google him, he's very distinctive looking without sounding rude.
So it's not somebody that you would forget. Look at Lee now on Google.
He's quite odd. He's quite odd looking.
Right. What was his name again?
David William Shearing, or just David Shearing.
Oh, hey up.
Let's have a look. Oh my god. Let's have a look.
Well, now there's a Roman nose and then there's a
The
Roman
Roman
nose.
nose.
Show
Turn
Carla.
it round. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know which. I'm not being funny, but it's got the look, hasn't it?
I wouldn't.
He's got some luck.
I don't think you'd forget
Meeting him,
would you?
No.
His face looks like it's made up of other people's.
All you'd have to say is the guy with the nose.
Yeah.
You'd
So
say, oh yeah, that one.
Yeah. He looks sinister. He looks like
Yeah.
he's got that look in his eye. You know, he's. But anyway, carry on.
he lived close to the site, and his family were well respected, so he was quite well known. He got previous charges on him: assault, DUI, drug possession, and he was known to be quite pesty around young girls.
Right.
Yeah.
He looks the type.
Yeah.
He was involved in a hit-and-run fatality, but never charged. A woman reported that Dave Shearing had injured about re-registering a truck with a hole in the side.
Right.
He found out that he couldn't register it. That's probably why he set it on fire.
Fight, yeah.
So, November 18th, 1983, they pick him up, they speak about hunting with him, and he tells them he's got a 22 Remington. So, Mike Easton interviews him, he denies his right to counsel, and just remains silent.
I hate that.
Yeah. It's like that, you know, I'm not being funny, but as soon as, if I was interviewing someone and they went, no comment, I'd be like, oh, you've done it. You've done it.
I don't think I'd be able to keep patient with him.
No, I wouldn't. It's like, what? Well, I'm pointless. I'm not doing this interview. It's pointless because you're just going to say, no comment, so fine. You've done it. You're guilty.
Do you know what I'd say, Lee?
What?
Fucking grow up.
Yeah, get over yourself. Get over yourself.
So,
No comment.
he says he has nothing to do with the Johnson Bentley murders. He mentions this hit and run that he's been involved with previously.
That he didn't get charged for.
And he writes a full confession for this hit and run.
But he didn't get charged for it.
He writes full confession.
Right.
At the minute, the RMCP, the only info they know is where the car was,
Yeah.
where the truck was,
Yeah.
where they were killed,
Yeah.
because of the shell cases. So finally, he breaks down and he talks. So now I'm going to tell you what really happened.
Come on then.
So he were watching this family camp the day before, stalking them. He were going to nick the stuff, basically.
Right, so it were a robbery.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wanted to kill the adults first, so
He had a thing for children, didn't he?
he hid behind the camper. He shoots Bob in the throat, so that's the father of the two girls.
Yeah.
Jackie,
Yeah, 'cause obviously he's going to be the main protector.
Jackie screams. George, which is the granddad, runs for the truck and David shoots him. Jackie runs to the girl's tent, but she was shot through the back of the head.
Taking the treatment out.
Then he went.
Was
Then
that the bullet they found stuck in her head?
so then he went to find Edith. Edith was the one that had the bullet stuck in the head.
Right.
He shoots Bob again because he shot him in the throat.
Throat, yeah.
So he shoots him again, finishes him off. Then he shoots Edith in the camper. Then he takes the girls out of the tent. So they charge him on 6 counts of second-degree murder. So what it says is he didn't say anything else about the girls until a little bit after. So you will get to find out.
Right.
So he gets charged with 6 counts of second-degree murder. Pleads guilty to all 6. So that's April 16th, 1984.
Okay.
Saying that he killed Art family, he did it, it were him. So he's sentenced to 25 years with no parole for 25 years. And then Mike Easton, which is the lead detective, re-interviews him because he wants to know
About the girls.
what did you do? I know you did something to these girls. I want to know. So he became obsessed with these 2 girls, he says. He's hiding in bushes. He knows he's going to have to kill all 4 adults before he gets his way with girls. So he told the girls to stay in the tent, raped them in the tent. He moved the 4 adults to the back of the car. He forced the girls to clean the campsite with him. And then
Them poor fucking kids.
he abducted them for a week and a half at his ranch close by.
Oh my god.
God only knows what happened to them girls.
That's horrific.
And done
That
better.
is. He done better than
Yeah, I didn't. If I'm honest, you don't expect that coming, do you?
No.
After a week and a half, he took the youngest girl first, walked her out into the forest, told her to turn around because he needed a wee,
Oh.
shot her in back of head.
So he couldn't even look at her when he fucking killed her. He put her through whatever he fucking put her through and then couldn't even give her decency to look at
Then
her.
he goes and gets the eldest girl, tells the eldest girl, I've tied your younger sister up to a tree. So she comes out, he used the same tactic and shoots her back at head.
Coward.
So he put the girls in the trunk. Obviously, the adults are still in the car decomposing.
That is not gonna smell good.
And then he lights it. Then he lights it on fire and walks away.
Just like that.
He's applied for parole in 2012 and 2008 and were denied.
Good.
He should never get parole.
He's changed his name to his mother's maiden name and he's married now.
What?
Yep. And get this, his next parole hearing for full parole is July 2021.
Oh my god.
Oh, watch this space. You're going to have to keep us informed on that.
Yeah. Massively.
So that's David Shearing and the Well-Grays Park murders.
What a fucking vile piece of shit.
Sure.
Evil.
Awful.
I can't even begin to imagine what them poor girls went through. Fucking awful.
Not for a week and a half at his beck and call.
Yeah. Anyway, talking of week and a half, I'm going to tell you about my story.
And pieces of shit.
I'm not even going to lie to you now. I'd not heard of this. Phil sent me a screenshot that obviously my good friend Kerry had tagged me in something on Facebook. So Phil sent me it. I looked at it. She went, I only know little bits. Will you please do it? So I've done it. Kerry Ann is a sick bitch, is all I'm going to say.
She's also a top fan.
Oh, she is a top fan, so she does. I appreciate her input.
Absolutely.
Now, I've not said this with any of my other stories before I've started, but I am going to say the details are really grim. It's really not nice.
Not one for the youngers.
No. It is pretty grim details of rape, torture, sexual abuse, just vile
Sick people.
Vile sick people. So I'm going to take you to Japan.
Oh,
And
go on.
I'm going to talk to you about, again, I'm shit with names and pronouncing them. So, right, lucky for me, in court, these 4 boys was named boy A to D.
Because they were too young.
Because they were too young, right?
Oh, great. Yeah.
So, I'm just going to refer to them as that. I will try and pronounce the main ringleader, because I think I've got it after I've listened to enough. So, let me tell you about a young lady called Junko Furuta.
Okay.
Junko was known as a very popular student. She was very bright, very pretty, and she always got good grades. She wasn't like most kids at her high school. She didn't smoke, she didn't drink, she didn't take drugs. She got her head, got her head down. She had a part-time little job. She wanted to save money for her education.
Yeah.
So,
parents' dream.
yeah. Now, some pupils took her personality as her way of basically looking down on them.
Yeah.
Like
and
a
she
snobbery.
sure a bit, but it weren't. It were just she didn't want to do that shit.
Yeah.
Now, there were one boy in particular at this school, and he was called Hiroshi Mariano. I think I've said his last name right, so I'll just refer to him as Hiroshi. He was known in this local area, and he was known to be connected to the local Yakuza, which has basically been described as Japan's version of the mafia.
Right.
Right.
So
like triads or something.
It was a really big organised crime sort of gang.
Yeah.
So this little community were quite scared of him and of the gang. Him and his friends would basically roam the streets on a night to basically find anyone that they could prey on to rob and rape, and they would gang rape them.
And how old is this kid?
This one's 18.
Right.
Yeah, he's the eldest of the 4. Now, it's said that he had a crush on Junko, and she turned him down. But she turned him down politely because she just weren't ready for a relationship. And to be quite honest, not with somebody like him.
No.
You know,
God,
she
no.
were a good girl. She definitely
It'd be
did.
your mum's worst nightmare.
Yeah, she definitely didn't want anything to do with him. So you can imagine his rage. No one dare say no to him in this little community. No one dare go against him. So he was pretty pissed off.
A bit like when I were in my gang.
Let's not. Let's.
People don't do out near me. And
Philip,
What?
stop spouting your bullshit.
Okay.
Right.
No, let's just work. Let's remember what age were you when you left this gang?
Lee, don't encourage him. Fuck's sake. So, let's get back to me.
Massive.
I'll get back to my story, shall I?
Sorry.
Right.
No disrespect to your story.
No, it's fine. So, like I said, he was proper pissed off.
Yeah.
So him and another boy B for purposes, were out and about on the 25th of November 1988 in streets, basically trying to find anybody that they could rape together. Now, it's said at about 8:30, Junko were riding a little push bike home because she'd been at work. So he obviously was fuming that she'd turned him down. He concocted a plan. He got boy B to basically stand in path and kick her off a bike and then run away. When he ran away, Hiroshi were on the other side of the street, decided that he was going to be a knight in shining armour and help her up.
Right, so she's gone for the setup, hasn't it?
Yep. So helped her to her feet, offered to walk her home. But what actually happened is he led her to an abandoned warehouse where he bragged about his involvement in the gang, and that if she doesn't do exactly what he says, he'll kill her and all the family.
So she's shitting herself.
Oh, she's terrified. So that's where she was first raped.
Oh my God.
He then took her to a nearby hotel. He basically raped her again. He kept her there most at night. He then rang his friends, explained that he'd got Junko, explained that he'd raped her, and that they're in this hotel. So one of the other boys basically says, well, keep hold of her, we'll share her.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Come meet me. So they decided to go meet. We're about 3 o'clock in the morning. They walked Junko to one of the boys' houses. He basically lived in a 3-storey house. It was owned by his parents, but from what I gather, he weren't there a lot. They were sort of flitting in and out. Where she then were raped again, but this time all 4 of the boys raped her, one after
Do
another.
we have an age for this girl?
This girl's 17.
Oh my.
Do you want to know the ages of the boys?
Well, you said one of them was 18.
16, 17, 17, 18.
Right, well, that's a year older than our daughter.
Yeah.
Yep,
And the boy's, what, a couple of years older than your oldest?
yep. Absolute.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, right.
Kelly,
So,
you are one sick girl. I agree.
Yeah.
it
Carry
is.
on.
It is. This is. I haven't even scratched surface, Lee, I'm not going to lie.
Oh God.
So, she basically was repeatedly raped, and they began to torture her and beat her. Her parents did ring the police on 27th of November, reported that she was missing, but the boys heard about it, so worrying, they forced her to ring her mum, basically say, I've run away, I'm with friends, I'm safe, tell the police I'm alright. So,
Bearing in mind that this isn't a mess around gang.
oh no, this is like
This isn't
proper,
a fuck around gang.
No.
These people.
we'll literally kill you.
Yeah.
Like, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they'll kill you, but surely at that stage, from what they've been doing to you, you know, when you get to that stage, you think, I'm saving my life for what reason? I know, it's that kind of like...
You're 17.
Yeah, you've
You
just...
saved me life for hope.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get that, but she's been raped repeatedly, she's been here, she's there, and then they're forcing her to do that, so the pressure that, because she must have gone through
The thing
stages
is,
we all would do.
You would automatically assume, or you would hope, that someone had noticed you were missing and there was somebody out there searching for you. But at that point, when she's forced to tell her mum she's fine, she knows nobody's looking.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Although
nobody.
She knows that we're looking.
Yeah, but she's in.
Put an end to it.
Yeah.
She's just,
Yeah.
It's like, that's, taunting that.
So she did anyway. She told police, and parents did tell police, and they called search off. So when Junko were at this house, because this is where they kept her for the foreseeable, she was basically told to act like she was one of the other boys' girlfriends. But it was said that it soon became apparent to boys that they knew that the parents weren't going to report them.
Yeah.
So the whole girlfriend act didn't last long.
Yeah.
And they continued the rape, the torture and the beatings, knowing that no one were going to do anything about it. Now, it is said, I have got to, put this in there because I don't want to upset anybody. It is actually said that his parents were terrified of him. Because like you've just said, he were involved in a gang that weren't just...
So they ruled that house anyway?
Yeah.
There was no chance of them coming home and discovering it. It was like they ruled.
So it is said that they did afterwards say that they were terrified of him. Yeah. So that's why they didn't report it. You know, happens all the time, doesn't it? Unfortunately, and this is why things happen.
It probably killed his parents.
Well, this is it.
Well, this is the thing. But
over the next 40 days, they kept this girl alive, and the things that they did were fucking horrific. How her body didn't give in before is beyond me.
What kind of things?
Right, let's get into this, Liz.
Yeah, little like this.
The first thing that the boys did was invite anybody and everybody from the gang to come and have their turn at raping her. It was said that it was well over 100 other men that had raped her.
My God.
And also beat her. Now, according to documents from trial, she was raped over 400 times within this 40 days. She was beaten, she was starved, she was forced to eat live cockroaches and drink her own urine. She was then hung from the ceiling and used as a punch bag. She was beaten with golf clubs, bamboo sticks and iron rods.
Oh my God.
She had barbells dropped on her stomach. She was also forced to masturbate in front of the gang.
What, this is after being beaten with...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a living nightmare. Oh, living nightmare.
Yeah.
And don't forget, this continued for 40 days. Right? They then inserted foreign objects into her. I don't need to go into detail, you know. But it did include a light bulb, a lit firework, an iron bar, some scissors and skewers. Which left her, she couldn't go to the toilet. She couldn't. Just completely destroyed. It is said that her vagina and clitoris was actually burnt with cigs and lighters. Her eyelids were burnt with hot wax.
This girl must have been so broken.
I can't even begin to... This is... Once I've read this... 40 days.
Mentally and physically broken.
Yeah. She's 17. And these boys doing this to her are boys that she's gone to school with. She knows these boys.
Yeah.
So...
This is going on in it, surely within
a parent's home that the parents may well have known.
No, not a parent's well have known, obviously that, but it was in the same area. Like you say, they went to school where this was going on in the same vicinity.
Yeah, this weren't somebody that's took somebody and kidnapped them and kept them held captive in a different town or anyway.
So these 100 so-called members and whatever are from this area, so this is going on. This is like a true knowledgeable thing that's going on. And
100%.
This is pure living nightmare.
Yeah.
So they then pierced her breasts with needles and decided to rip both her nipples off with pliers. Now, during this torture, Junko had often slip in and out of unconsciousness. The boys would basically dunk her head into buckets of freezing cold water to bring her back round.
Oh, so she could experience it, obviously. Yeah.
So they could continue the beatings.
because Fucking
Now-
wank. Sorry, but wankers, absolute dirty. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Now, just a side note, this bit gets me every time and it fucking riles me. But again, twice the police was actually alerted to Junko's condition and situation.
And you know what happens there, don't you?
And twice they failed to intervene.
Did they fail to intervene, or were they on take?
Yeah.
Well-
I was gonna say, you think about what else is going on there,
Yeah.
and did it even make it out of the station?
Well,
before it was intercepted by
listen.
someone?
I've got some info to back it up. So the first time, a student from school basically got invited over to rape her. He basically said, I don't know much about the boy to know whether this is just a cop out, but he basically said he didn't dare not rape her because it was this gang,
Right.
right?
I'd say from the sounds of the gang, I could probably believe that.
Right,
Yeah.
so to be fair to this boy though, he then went home and told his brother. So his brother then told his parents, who told the police. Now, the police did go to this house and the parents answered. So when they asked about this girl, they said, no, we ain't got no girl in this house. So not only did they cover up what their son and his friends were hiding in the house, they then said, do you want to come in and check? We've got nothing to hide. So them officers said, no, it's fine, we believe you. And off they went.
The old bluff.
They basically said that with them inviting them in, they thought, why would they do that?
There
if
were
they
no
don't?
suspicion.
Yeah.
Well, nothing to hide if they're inviting you in.
Now, another bit of info, them two police officers were later sacked because it caused an absolute backlash from public.
Yeah, so it should.
They were outraged. If they had gone in and checked, that was on day 16, she probably would have survived
But
her
then you should
injuries.
think, if they were inviting them in, there's a good chance, I would say, that they wouldn't have found her. They wouldn't have been, they're not, are they going to play it that much of a bluff that actually,
No, I think they would have found her. Lee, the impression I get from everything I've read and listened to, it was well aware what was going on. It wasn't
No, but I mean,
hidden.
if the police had gone in the house, was it that openly?
She were on second floor. All I know is they were sacked, right?
Yeah.
Basically, it was said that if they had have intervened, then she probably would have been able to survive from her injuries. But, then the second time was Junko actually managed to get herself to a phone in the house and she called the police. But before she could talk, one of the boys caught her, hung up the phone. Now, the police did apparently ring back, but this boy just passed it off as, it was a mistake.
Yeah.
There's no wrong. We're fine. Because she did that, they were absolutely fuming with her. And as a punishment, her legs were soaked in lighter fluid.
Because she hadn't had punishment enough.
Yeah. Her legs were then soaked in lighter fluid and set on fire. A large bottle was forced in her bum,
This poor girl.
which led to such severe bleeding, she had a seizure. I'm assuming with the severe bleeding, the pain from being set on fire, from
All
the
the other
rape,
things.
from the beatings, your body just,
Gives
you
up.
know. But actually, during the trial, the defendant said that they thought she was faking them seizures. What they did, so what they did is to bring her round, was to set her legs on fire again.
Oh my god.
Absolutely unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're sick boys.
They're not sick boys. They're devil. They're evil.
Yeah.
Where does that thought pattern?
Absolute animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
No
There's way to be
respect,
judged by that.
no remorse to be doing it for 40 days.
Yep.
This ain't just one night. This is
Over
40
and over.
days.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
prolonged, and it's
Yeah.
like.
Now, the boys did say in court that she kept begging for him to just kill her. But
Yeah, well,
that just made beatings worse. Then as the weather became colder, they made her sleep outside on a balcony with nothing but her underwear on. As the days
You
passed...
wouldn't even treat your dog like that.
No.
No,
You wouldn't treat anybody like that.
no. You
It's just fucking cruel on another level. Now, as the days went on, as you can imagine, she had quite a lot of injuries and a lot of wounds that became infected.
Yeah.
There were leaking pus, smelling vile. By this point, like I said, she'd lost all control of both her bowels and her bladder, which actually made the boys even more pissed off because of the mess.
Oh.
So, you know, why not beat her a little bit more?
Why keep her alive?
I don't know.
For their own satisfaction,
Why
mate.
do this to somebody?
For their own satisfaction, they get off on it.
That's it. That's the only thing, because they're not doing it for anything else. Now, it's actually said, because of this, they all basically lost any sort of sexual interest in her because it disgusted her. Disgusted them, sorry.
Because of what they'd done to her.
How could they have any... Sorry, I'm sorry, but...
So anyway,
yeah.
that night, they decided to go out and gang rape a random 19-year-old girl. Because, you know, having a girl at your house on death's door, suffering like she is, just ain't enough. We'll go gang rape somebody else. So, on the 4th of January, 1989, it said that Hiroshi lost some sort of game called Mission. Don't know what it is. I've tried having a look.
Mahjong.
Yes.
Mahjong.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a form of... it's like small tiles, and it's like pairing the tiles, and you either build them up or build them down.
Right.
It's you can...
Very much a Japanese game.
Yeah,
Well,
it's good.
apparently
it's
he
interesting.
apparently he lost, so he was pissed off, and he decided to take his anger out on Junko, who, like I've just said, she was barely alive at this point, as you can imagine. She was, I don't know how her
She'll
body...
be in and out of it unconscious.
Yeah, I don't know how her body ain't give up. So
Oh,
basically,
God,
he just started to just put her through this complete awful beating where she was hit, kicked, punched. He put candles on her eyelids and let them burn all the way down. He forced her to stand, but she couldn't even kneel.
Yeah.
He then started whipping her feet with bamboo sticks.
That's awful.
Then that caused her to fall over and she banged her head on a stereo. That brought on another seizure. She was bleeding quite heavily and she had all this pus and infection from her wounds. So the boys decided they didn't want to get any of this on the skin. So what they did is they put the hands in plastic bags and they taped them at wrists. And then they continued the beating. They didn't want to get the fluids on them, apparently. So they then repeatedly dropped an iron medicine ball on her stomach. They covered her whole body, face, arms, neck, you name it, her whole body with lighter fluid and set her on light. Apparently she made a few attempts to sort of waft as much out, but I don't think she had any energy left. Then obviously were in and out of consciousness again. It's said that this attack lasted 2 hours, being set on light, being put out, set on light again. Just the horrific torture. And then unfortunately that was the 40th day she died. Her body just gave up. It had had enough.
Yeah, she couldn't take any more than that.
No. About 20 hours after she actually died, one of the boys realised that she weren't breathing. They thought that because she'd gone unconscious before, she'd just come back round naturally. But about 20 hours after they realised, hang on, she's not breathing. They then started to panic and obviously didn't want to be charged with murder. So...
Well, I know, they started to panic because...
Yeah.
After everything they've done?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So they decided to come up with a plan to get rid of her body. They wrapped her up in some blankets and they put her in like a large old doll. They then placed that old doll in a 55-gallon oil drum and then they filled it with cement. And then at around 8 o'clock that night, once it was set, they drove that oil drum to Kota in Japan and they dumped it into a concrete truck. Now, this was the 4th of January, moving to... I said 4th of January, didn't I?
Yeah.
So moving to the 23rd of January, Aroshi and one of the other boys were arrested for the gang rape of the 19-year-old girl when they'd gone out and done that. That were back in 1988. Then we go, this confused me and I couldn't find any info, but it goes from the 23rd of January of them two being arrested to then 29th of March. There's no, unless they were released on bail or what, I don't know, but I couldn't find what were going off within that period.
Can I just say one thing that's quite interesting is it was that personal between him and this girl.
Yeah.
They'd obviously been out and raped someone else and not gone to the extent of what they did with Junko.
No.
Yeah.
So that's how personal
He took it.
this is.
Well, it is said they were well known for gang raping, but they normally let him go. I agree with you 100%. It was that personal that he had to subject
That
her.
personal, and he wanted to break her down and watch her suffer. Absolute sick bastard.
Yeah.
Because she turned
Because
it
she
down.
rejected him.
Yeah. And that's all it was. So we got, sorry, I couldn't find out what were happening in Gap. So we're now on the 29th of March. And officers went to question the two boys. So this is Hiroshi and I think Boy B. They went to question him because apparently they found some underwear in their home when they were doing a search. So they wanted to question them separately. Now, in the interview with Hiroshi, one of the officers basically mentions a murder that they can link him to. But actually, they didn't have much. They couldn't link him. They just were trying to get him to talk. He thought that Boy B had cracked and told them about Junko.
They were a bluff.
Yeah. So bearing in mind though, the police weren't digging for Junko
No.
because
They didn't know about
they
it.
didn't know about her.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they knew about it, but they were.
As far as they were aware, Junko were living elsewhere.
Yeah, it had been called off. So he basically broke down and confessed and told them everything. Told them about the torture, the abuse, the raping, and where to go find a body.
Thank God for that copper.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the police were really confused because they were referring to a murder of a woman and a child that had happened before Junko, but obviously he didn't know that. Now, that murder, apparently, it's still unsolved. I looked at that as well. That's never been solved. Apparently, it had nothing to do with this gang. So, next day, the police go and they find the oil drum and they manage to identify Junko with fingerprints because a body and a poor face and everything. She would, as you can imagine, she just weren't.
Probably nothing much left of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So both them boys were then arrested on murder, and the police soon went to arrest the other two that were involved. Now, when a body were examined,
To be fair, they should be arresting fucking 100 people.
when you get to end, just wait, you do this, Oppo.
You know when they're saying that they're looking and identifying about, they've put her in a rags, put her in a barrel,
Yeah.
put her in a cement truck. There's not going to be much left of it.
Nope. Right, so I'm assuming that's why they had to use fingerprints, because there wouldn't have been much.
Yeah, they won't. That's it, absolutely.
So they went on to arrest the other boys. Now, it's said that when her body were examined, even with the horrific damage to her womb, she was actually pregnant.
Oh
My God, it's like an awful cherry on the top, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, news of what had happened obviously soon spread. And like I said before, because of their age, the court sealed the names, their identities. Now, kudos to this woman, because she fucking deserves it. But
there needs to be I'm sorry, but there needs to be something in this story, yeah, that's going to bring me back round, because this so far has been.
It's horrific, isn't it? It takes it to a level that's fucking off Richter scale. So there were a female journalist who found out the names of said boys, and she fucking released him to public.
The justice.
Yeah.
Good girl.
Yeah.
When questioned, she basically said they fucking don't deserve
Yeah.
No, they don't.
their identities to be covered up. Regardless of their age, they do not deserve to be protected. And I fucking agree with her.
Kind of wipes that out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
get why that's there, but there has to be then a point where they go, "Sorry, lads, but you've got
This is
you're
someone
not."
who's been shot.
Yeah.
No. So the boys all pled guilty, but they wouldn't plead guilty to murder. They actually said that they were guilty of bodily injury that resulted in death. What a fucking insult. So Hiroshi, obviously the main ringleader, the one that found it extremely personal, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
What?
Well, just a minute. Boy B was given 5 to 9 years. Boy C was sentenced to 5 to 7 years. And boy D was given 8 years.
So B, D, and C are out now.
All of them are out now.
Oh, are you?
I'm going to tell you a little bit about that as well.
Oh, crack on.
So,
Come on, please tell me someone's taking revenge on them or something.
Someone's checking them out.
Yeah.
well, it said that it caused such a massive backlash from public with the shocking sentences, but the court just because they were actually classed as minors, juveniles, there were nothing else they could do. They can't,
I bet they were paid off as well. There'll have been
well,
going on.
Who knows?
Come on,
So,
we started the whole story with one of the biggest style mafia groups, gangs going.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to be able to pull strings.
Hiroshi
Yeah.
was released in 2009. He served his 20 years. He was released in 2009. In 2013, he was rearrested for some sort of fraud, but he was released without charge. And then there's nothing much else about him. Boy B, he was released and he moved in with his mum. He's not worked or anything since. And in 2018 was arrested for the attempted murder after beating a 32-year-old man with a metal rod and slashing his throat with a knife. Then,
So they changed then?
yeah, obviously. Boy C, there is nothing about him. So I'm assuming he's kept his head down, he's laid low. Now, Boy D, it's said that he came out when he were released and he basically bragged about what he'd done. And he then decided that he was going to go and kidnap a man that he thought was involved with a girlfriend of his. So he then was arrested in 2004 for the assault and attempt murder. So that's where they're all at. And another side note, Boy B, his mum went and vandalised Junko's grave.
Nice.
Because she blames her for ruining her son's life. Yeah.
Of course it's her fault.
Never mind this dead poor girl.
Yeah.
And what her son's done to her.
Yeah.
No. Absolutely fucking horrific.
What I will say about all these gangs is, from what you see on telly and documentaries, once you're in these gangs,
You can't get out,
you
can
don't
you?
you don't get out, and when you're
Yeah,
in
you
prison, the gangs don't go away because obviously the
They're
gangs
all
are in prison
inside.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Exactly.
So there's no way out, is there?
As I say, it's a family, isn't it? It's true family. So you don't get away from it.
I've listened to quite a few podcasts where victims have been tortured,
Yeah.
but that is the worst I have ever heard.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. Agree with you there. That
It was a hard one.
I would normally, hearing you case, a new story, hear something, and would now walk away or go away from this and do a little bit more research, look into it and stuff. But I genuinely can say you've given me enough.
I'm going to think about it now.
You've given me enough for now. I think that
You need to let it digest a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, how can that be so unjust? That poor girl.
Like I've said,
No mention of a family, of a mother and father.
Yeah.
And they found out.
They found out. She was buried in the April, so they held a funeral. She was finally laid to rest. They got some compensation from the parents who owned the house where it happened. So they got some compensation. It is also said, you remember boy B, when he was released, his dad had been saving money, and in the savings, he basically spent it all, and that money was supposed to be for Junko's family. So not only did he partake in the murder, he came out
and then spent
the money that was supposed to be for her poor family. Just horrific.
They were just pure
evil.
Pure bad.
Yeah.
Like I've said it before, when we read some of these cases, and it's just unbelievable that these people exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And the sad thing is, they do.
That is the sad.
Well,
but you still get blown away that people can be this sick, this cruel.
To quote you, every time you hear it, bang in the face. Every time, and it's like, but
you don't become like desensitized to it, do you? It still gets you every time.
Yeah.
Again, it's not, in no way is it a thrill or an interesting what the guys did or what the
no,
it's this poor girl. It's like, to have been put through that. It really is. It's upsetting.
Yeah,
it's genuinely upsetting.
It's worse. I think it's worse I've looked into, and if I'm honest, probably didn't help with my low mood that I've had this week. It definitely impacted that. I've got to say, when I was researching it, but once I couldn't put it down, I couldn't walk away from it. When I started reading it, I just thought, no, I need, because I've not heard of this before.
No.
And for such an horrific crime, it's not overly popular, is it? Because publicised. No, and it shocked me.
But it comes from a country that, again, don't really openly publicise anything. So.
Yeah. Well, I hope I've done Kerry proud. I hope I've given her enough.
I think you have.
And I hope that
I could do with maybe a good few months before Kerry nominates another
case.
Yeah, because it's.
So give us a like or a follow on social media.
Yeah, please do.
Terrifying_twisted for Instagram, Terrifying and Twisted for Facebook. Give us a review, tell us if we've done shit, tell us if we've done good. So have a good week. It's bye from me.
It's bye from me.
And it's definitely bye from me.
See you later.